Hello, friend. This is Ryan Hicks of TalkToProfit.com. Today I want to talk to you about being poor in money or poor in the Lord. I had someone post a comment that said, in response to my video talking about the blessing of the Lord and how it makes rich, they said this: poor in money or poor in heart, because it's better to be poor in money than poor in the Lord. Never make money a focus. First, it's always Christ, and everything else falls through. I think they mean everything else falls through, but I'm not exactly sure what they meant there. But the point they were making was their mindset, which is a poverty mentality, and this is what many people have, is that this is some either-or equation. You either have a lot of money and are poor in the Lord, or you have little money, you're poor in money, but you're rich in the Lord. And this is a false dichotomy. This is a false dilemma that people are setting up for themselves. Because God is almighty. He created everything that exists. He created. He is the creator, the sustainer of all things, the supplier of all your needs and wants. There's no lack or limitation in Him, except that you limit Him by not stepping out in faith and believing for the things that He freely wants to give you, that He liberally wants to give you. Because you have this mentality that, well, if I get any kind of material goods, then I'm somehow going to be poor in the Lord. That's not true at all. This is why the scripture says in Proverbs 10:22 that the blessing of the Lord, it maketh rich, and He addeth no sorrow with it. And the word there, rich, is not talking about rich in love or rich in happiness or any of this kind of nonsense that people do. Because the reason people say that, and that sounds all fluffy and good and nice and sweet, and those things are good. Of course, you want to have an abundance of love and peace and joy, and those things are all great, and you should have those things, and you will have those things, and also have great amounts of wealth. But the reason people like to talk about those things instead of wealth and riches is because those things are hard to calculate. So anyone can just say randomly, oh, I am so rich in love. What does that mean? How do you measure that? How do you calculate that? There's no way of doing it. That's so subjective. But the objective truth is, if you're poor, then you don't have the blessing of the Lord in your life. Because the blessing of the Lord, it maketh rich. And that's important. And that's why people cling to that and this riches in love, I'm rich in faith, or these things, which are all great. But the reason they do that and push away money and shun money is because money is an objective thing that you can objectively measure whether you have a lot or a little, whether you're abundant or lacking. So they can't fake that. They can't use flowery words to skate past the realities of their lives, the failure and the mediocrity they're actually existing in, as they do with being rich in love and rich in joy. Because money, you can't do that. You either have a lot or you don't. You either are rich or you're not. And it's that simple. Now, the point is not that there's something wrong with you if you're poor, but that there are things you need to do to change to get yourself in the position to be abundant, to have the overflowing of God's abundance in your life. Don't think that you have to choose between one or the other. When God's blessing is resting on your life because you are rich in the Lord, so to speak, you're also going to be rich in material things as well. Abraham, the only man called the friend of God in the scripture, was stated as being very rich. He didn't just have enough. He didn't just have a little bit more. He wasn't just rich. He was very rich. Now, this person did make a point, never make money a focus. Well, that's not true, because people do that each and every day when they go to work. They work jobs they don't even like. The sole reason is to get money. And it's almost guaranteed that this same person with that poverty mentality is one of those people. And they've made money their focus because they're doing something literally they don't like, that they hate, that they don't want to be doing, and they wouldn't do it for free, but they're doing it only because of money. What could be more focused on money than that? But see, when you're talking about wealth and riches and success and prosperity and abundance, you're not talking about focusing on money. Money is something that is obviously part and parcel of everyone's life if you exist in a civilized society. But it's about providing more value, creating more, doing more, being more, and from that naturally comes an overflowing and abundance of wealth, riches, opportunities, opulence. These things are natural and they're part of it, and they naturally come to you when you are focused on the right things, when you're doing the right things, when you're not setting back, limiting God and saying, well, you can either be poor in money or poor in the Lord. No. Why not be neither? So I'm not going to be poor in money and I'm not going to be poor in the Lord. Why would you serve God and think that you're going to lack and do without and suffer hunger? The scripture says that I haven't seen the righteous forsaken, nor his seed begging bread. But why do you have this mentality that somehow you come to faith in Jesus Christ and you're supposed to be so desperate and destitute and pathetic and pitiful and lacking in life? Nothing could be further from the truth. It's a blatant, obvious lie of the devil, and there's many, many, many churches preaching this because they want to keep you limited. And you may say, but wait, wouldn't they profit more from a wealthy and successful, prosperous congregation? No, because those same people know they don't have what those kind of people, successful and prosperous and abundant people, need. All they have is this little wishy-washy, soft, pathetic, feel sorry for yourself gospel, not the gospel of Jesus Christ. So if people start rising up and becoming greater and doing more and becoming more, those pastors lose their congregation completely because no one wants to listen to them tell them, well, you got to be poor in money or you're going to be poor in the Lord, or this kind of nonsense. No one wants to listen to that. When they've tasted of the goodness of God, when they've seen his abundance overflowing in their lives, when they've seen the endless prosperity and abundance that's overflowing and renewed day in and day out, they're not going to go back to listening to that same garbage, drivel, false gospel that is the norm today. So that is why they're preaching to you about you need to be poor, or you need to just not have too much, because you don't want to have too much. As long as they keep you in that limited mentality, they got you. And you'll keep following them. You'll keep listening to them, telling you about how you got to be limited, telling you about how it's better to be poor in money than poor in the Lord. And they'll tell you all these things and drag you down with them. Actually, oftentimes, those pastors are living high. They got money and wealth and opulence off the backs of those people that they're telling to be poor, that they're telling to have not enough, to lack, which is truly evil. What you have to understand is that you're not presented with two options here. You absolutely do not have to be in lack. You don't have to suffer hunger. You don't have to be in want. You don't have to go without. No good thing will he withhold from you. He wants you to freely enjoy all the good things in his world, all the good things in his creation. You don't exist to suffer, to be tormented, to be in lack, and to see others around you who don't care about God, who truly are quote unquote poor in the Lord. Actually, they're not even poor in the Lord. They're bankrupt in the Lord because they have nothing to do with him. And yet they're prospering and succeeding because they're doing the basic things that God's outlined for people to do if they want to have great success and happiness and wealth in this life. And there's so many people claiming to know the Lord, claiming to love the Lord, claiming to be rich in the Lord, who aren't doing the basic things that God has set up for them to do in order to become a success, in order to become wealthy. And it's his decree. It's what he's outlined. It's the laws he's set up. And if you simply align yourself with those things, you will become a great success too. It's inevitable. But if you keep dropping back to this poverty mentality, this lack mentality that you can't have enough and also have the Lord, then you'll never get anywhere. And you have to understand that is simply a lie of the enemy. Any enemy, not just Satan, but anyone coming at you, telling you that kind of stuff, is an enemy of God. And they're an enemy of you. Now, you obviously bless them and be kind to them. You speak blessings, you speak abundance, you speak life to them. But some of those people, if you have people in your life that are dragging you down, they're telling you you got to be poor, telling you got to be in lack, telling you maybe middle class is as far as you can go, because you don't want to go any higher than that because rich people are evil, and you don't want to be poor in the Lord, and all this stuff, you need to get away from that. Get yourself around people who are good, who are upright, who love God, and know about being pleasing to Him and becoming great success and being blessed in the Lord, and the blessing of the Lord, it maketh rich. And I want to encourage you too, if you're one of these people and maybe you don't have anyone to communicate with, you're an entrepreneur, you're doing things, you're becoming successful, but you need someone that knows these things and that can hold you accountable and help build you up. It's not going to tear you down. It's not going to laugh at you. It's not going to talk you down. Not going to hear about your vision and tell you why that can't happen, but they're going to find a way to make it happen for you and work with you and build you up. Then I encourage you to consider my coaching. I have very few spots available right now, but if you're interested in that and you really want to take things to another level and you really want someone who's going to hold you accountable and in loving firmness is going to tell you the things you need to hear to get yourself going. He's not going to doubt you. He's not going to tell you, oh, you can't do that, or that you got to be limited. You can't get enough. You don't want to get too much, but it's going to encourage you and push you and pump you up to get to the next level. Then get my coaching packages today. There's only a few left. I have very limited time available that I'm dedicating this, but I want to dedicate it to people who are sincere and really want to do this and want to take themselves to the next level. Many people talk about that and then they go back and do nothing each day. Or they go back and do the same thing they've always been doing and wonder why they're not getting any different results. So I'll put a link in the description to that if you want to consider that. I know it'll be a real blessing for you and it will absolutely take you to the next level. My friend, I pray this is a blessing for you. May God bless you richly.